I have a potentially unpopular opinion about Disney princesses. Animated movies are a great love of mine, especially the older Disney movies that use the illustrative style rather than the new computer generated ones. But that's because I'm a lover of art and illustration. But another thing I'm a great lover of is stories. There's something fundamentally important about a good narrative. And Disney, at least classic Disney, does narrative very, very well. Even though a lot of Disney princess tales aren't new, as they are mostly based on classic fairy tales, folklore, that kind of thing, they are well written and well presented. So, a common criticism of the Disney princess staple is that the main characters are passive in their stories, that they always need a prince to save them, that they're weak, perhaps anti feminist. But I disagree. I think the princesses are tenacious and brave, virtuous, and above all, they're good people. There's nothing passive in kindness that enriches the lives of others, or in steadfastness in the face of overwhelming adversity. The prince is not there to save the princess, he is the reward for courage and grace and unfaltering faith in oneself. And true love, is that such a terrible thing to aspire to? Obviously, there is more to life than that, but these are films for children, so they're naturally simplistic. There is a thing at the moment where films try to do a strong female character, and the definition of strength they use is so literal and one dimensional. And unless the female is actively beating up men or her special powers are more powerful than anyone else in the world, then she's not valuable. But another strength comes from the strength of your own character. And I think that is more important than physical strength. Mulan, for example, she isn't a strong soldier. I mean, sure, in the montage, she succeeds, but she is also clever and she uses that to her advantage. That is what allows her to succeed. I mean, above her bravery as well. That's a very important part. And then if you watch the live action version, there's not much. She's a magic boosted girl who just has to be herself. And there's no point in being yourself if you've got no substance. And substance comes in many forms. I mean, look at Snow White. She is beautiful, but so is the Queen. What separates them is Snow White's kindness and her open spirit and the love she shares with those around her. She transforms the lives of the dwarves for the better, and the animals of the forest love her. And I think that is used in the other princess films as well, kind of like a metaphor for her connection, her, I suppose, spiritual connection with life and the world around her. It's almost like a perk of being. And I could go through every princess and the virtue that allows her to succeed in her own story, in her own individual way, with her own personality. But I think I'll save it for another time, otherwise I could go on and on. Each Disney princess forges her own path, and if you're in need of a role model, why is that such an... And obviously there are outliers to my theory, but they're not... Sleeping Beauty is not much different to the other princesses. She does need a prince to save her, that is true. I could go through every princess and the virtue that allows her to succeed in her own story, but I'll save it for another time. Each Disney princess is an individual, and she's unique in her own way, and each has her own virtue that allows her to forge ahead in her own story and ultimately have a happy ending. And if you're a kid, there's not much wrong with that message. Or even as an adult, there's not much wrong with that message. Um, my favorite princesses, by the way, if you were wondering, are Ariel and Belle. What are yours?